Hello and welcome to Yerushalmi Berachos Daf Samach Test in the Oz 100 print. We have a couple of very interesting ha'aras and concurrent sigas once again, which is just really fascinating to see how the Gemara developed. Remember, the Yerushalmi came first, and the Bavli developed it afterwards. So, the Gemara says that we have a proof about Kiddush Makam Seuda, which is a very famous siga, and the concurrent siga is in the Bavli, very famous Psachim Daf Kuf Amud Beis through Kuf Aleph Amud Aleph, and there's a lot of constructs here that are the same about Rav Shmuel, what he held, etc. And one thing I want to talk about is just what is this Indian of Kiddush Makam Seuda. So obviously the simple shot of Kiddush Makam Seuda, and also Shinoi Makam, which is the sukkah over here. You could make a Kiddush in the sukkah and move, or go outside and move. So it says in the pasuk the Karasal Shabbos Oneg, Shabbos should be Oneg, and Chazal Darshan that in the place of Oneg where Shabbos is called the Karasal Shabbos, that's where the meal, the Oneg of Shabbos, should take place as well. There's a connection between the Kiddush and the eating. What was I going to say? Right. So the simple pshat of Kiddush Makam Seuda, aside for a halachic requirement of you made Kiddush here, so you need to eat here as well, Mizonos, etc., is also a hashkafic aspect. What's that? And that is that the Seuda is a place where a person eats and becomes physical. So while a person's eating, they have the ability to forget about Hashem. And so the Kiddush part means to be Mekadesh it, to uplift and to separate oneself from physicality. So Kiddush Makam Seuda means that in the place of Seuda, which is a place, of course, of Oneg, but a person has to always remind himself that it's a spiritual way of connecting to Hashem through, of course, being with our body. So the Kiddush should always be Makam Seuda. The Kedusha should always remain there and should influence the entire Seuda as well. It might sound Hasidish, but I think it's a very beautiful pshat. Going further on, there's a very fascinating Gemara, which Rich Hashem will be Zocha to learn together and speak about on Daf Ayin Hey, where there's even more of a makar for this. But basically, the Gemara says like this: they ask Ben Zoma, why is it that when wine comes in the middle of the meal, every person makes their own bracha, but you can't have one person make the bracha and everyone else just answers amen for it? So he answered, the reason is Mipnei she'ein beis habliya panui. This is this girsa, because the throat is not clear, meaning it's a choking hazard. So therefore, we don't want people to answer amen in the middle to be able to drink. So therefore, everyone should stop eating and make a bracha on their own wine individually when they have a chance. So there is a famous kasha on this, which is, wait a minute, isn't it true that when you hear a bracha and you're being mechavin to be yotze, you don't have to answer amen in order to be yotze? Shomayaka ona, even without the amen, you're still yotze. So they don't have to talk; they could just hear it and then they could drink. So there are two main mahalchim to answer this question. One of them is that it's lav dafka, meaning that his answer that he gave is that it's a choking hazard. Is not that you need to say an amen in order to be yotze. You don't, but most people would, and also l'chachila you should. So therefore, it's more l'chachila you should. Of course, b'diavad you're yotze without it. But therefore, because of that, that's not the way to do it. But and this is how most Rishonim quote it. Rabbeinu Yonah is very famous. The Rashba and Bavli, Daf, Mem Gimel Amud Aleph. That's how they discuss it. However, there's a famous Arzarua that is brought down lahalacha. The Darkei Moshe brings us down in Arachaim Kuf. Where is this? Kuf Samach Zayin Sivkat and Dalid. And he brings us down that the Arzarua learns in the Yerushalmi that the Yerushalmi must hold that you mamish have to say the word amen in order to be yotze. Clearly, you see that's a simple reading of the Yerushalmi. There's a huge problem here because the Gemara later on Daf Ayin Hey, at least according to one Girsa, seems to say explicitly this isn't true. And again, most poskim say that this isn't true, but Lamaisa, the Darkei Moshe, brings down Lalacha, and Bez Hashem will talk about it more. I wanted to say there's one more svara, which is that, again, we say in Chazal that Chamira Sakanta Meisura. So it makes that we should be more strict when it comes to sakana sometimes than an isser. And isser obviously, is also a spiritual danger. But again, an accident's an accident. But when it comes to Mishparantu El Nashor Sechem, that's a mitzvah that takes precedence. A person's life, we can L'chal Shabbos keep him alive. So that's what it means. Meaning, it's interesting. It's not the danger itself is more important. It's that the Torah shows us that a person's life is the most valuable in all things. There's a chiluk. If you understand what I'm saying. I'm not expressing it so well. That's why I'm saying that. But anyway, so it could be that the pshat is that since there's a slight danger here, so therefore he's eating, and we don't want him to do anything. We don't even want him to drink when the other person is making the bracha. We want him to to finish what he's eating in his mouth, make his own bracha, and then drink. So it could be that here it's even more different. Okay. There's also a very interesting Gemara. which I just want to go through the phraseology. It's very interesting. The Gemara then says that Rav Mana says, Hada Amar Ahan Atish, when someone sneezes, gu mechla, while eating, Asr l'meimar, you're not allowed to say yes. Okay? So there's a three-way version of this. There's the Bavli, Yerushalmi, and then there's how we translate it. Okay? So the Bavli says asusa, which means you should have health, be well. Yes means the same thing. You should have health. And Gezundheit, how we say it, is gesund, means health. Gezundheit, you should have health. So it's the same thing. And again, begin sakanta the nafsha. So there's just different lashonos. Again, the Bavli is longer. It's asusa, and the Yerushalmi is yes, yud yud samach. And lastly, just a little riot to something that I said earlier, that I was talking about besamim before, that maybe you don't have to hold it because you're making a bracha on the smell, which is everywhere. So halachically, of course, when a person makes a bracha on besamim, he should be holding it, balabais, when he's saying it, and a person should pass it around and smell it. But the Gemara says a big svar that in mugmar, once it comes in the room, everybody smells it, so in mela, the bracha should be made by one person, and then everyone else should be yotze, because it's being smelled immediately. I hope this has enhanced your learning, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day.